Session that I'm going to do today is about the because on the first day or second day we just discuss about the overview of all the theories in human learning, right? All the theories in human learning, and along with it, like I'm jumping onto the first one, and that is behaviorism, and today we are going to discuss in depth about it, in depth discussion, in-depth discussion about it. So when it comes to an in-depth discussion, it means like you are looking at different aspects and how it evolved this theory, right? And also how you can implement it within the classroom, right? How you can implement it within the classroom, and what are the stages that a kid is grasping your behaviorism strategy each and every stage, right? That is the whole overview about the today's session, right? Whole overview, right? And I think like everybody can hear what is uh, what is discussing, and so normally if I get in this way, right? That means like different kids are having different uh, behaviors, right? Behaviors. Some are most of them are learned behaviors, not some. Most of them are learned behaviors. Right? Learned behavior means, as an example, like maybe they could go through the films or kind of another. They are like imitating another character, likewise, right? Because sometimes like when the kids see Incredible Hulk, right, they are using that in that movies some actions, right? Some actions in front of others, like I'm this kind of a person, right? I have superpowers, like kind of, and because kids are very that means they are very much like to imitate others, right? Imitate others, and also kids are curious about what are the good things, what are the bad things in the world, right? Rather than elders, because when it comes to elders we knows about the world already, right? We do have experience, and we have been going through the same kind of scenarios again and again, so we know it, right? How to change our behavior. But when it comes to the kids, it is a totally different picture, right? That means when you get a kid is always like picturing, like if I'm being a superhero, this is how I want to be, right? People will always coming behind me, like those kind of imaginations they do have, right? So that's why like this behaviorism theory is very important to the that means early childhood education, right? So I'm starting with how it had been started, right? How it had been started. It had been started up with uh, behaviorism theorist called John Watson, right? John Watson, not the person who was in the Sherlock Holmes movies. No, not that Dr. John Watson, but this is another one, right? So what he had been done was like if you do have any questions, you can put up in the chat, like then it is easier for me, right? Okay, and he's telling like, okay, give me your give me some infants, like kids, right? Kids well formed and uh, well formed, and what he's telling is no matter who the kids are, right? But he's guaranteed he can change them into any form, right? That means he can train them, right, to become any type of a specialist, like a doctor, lawyer, like artist. Because these days we are thinking like if his father or mother is a lawyer, the kid is going to be a lawyer, right? If the father is a doctor, then kid is going to be a doctor. But according to John Watson, he said no matter that means kid is from a beggar family, no problem, but I can change him to a doctor. It is possible. It is possible. The case is the case is like no matter, like what in summary what he is telling is, no matter what is his background, what is his abilities, what is his talents, but he is telling behaviorism, through the behaviorism he can change anybody's abilities, attitudes, thinking patterns, and all those things, right? Because that John Watson's, according to John Watson's theory, he's thinking, he's telling in 1930s now lots of new theories have been came up, so no wonder like some of the points are wrong, but he's the person who had been came up with the initial idea about behaviorism, right? Because he just give a hypothesis. He had been given a hypothesis. That means hypothetically he told like theoretically, hypothetically, he told like, okay, if the behavior can change, I can change their way of learning. That's all, right? So after some time, what happened was like, okay, behaviorism came to the action, and he told some theories, right? He told some theories about behaviorism, right? These are the things like which would be important to your examinations, right? That means behavioral psychology, also known as behaviorism, is a theory learning based upon the idea that all behaviors acquired through conditions, right? That means initial idea was in the behaviorism, not anything else. He said what? He said one important thing. What the important thing was like, if you want to know the behaviorism, right? No matter, it is learning behaviors through conditioning. That means through conditioning you are learning the behaviors, right? And then along with it, like very important thing is the behaviorism emerge. That means behaviorism used widely after 1910s. That means because actually Watson had been came up with the theory in 1930s, but 1910 onwards he had been done those whole things, right? And always in behaviorism, right? Behaviorism all the time. They just try to come up with observable behaviors, right? That is the most important thing, right? Because in psychological learning, we are talking about the brain or the mind is something that we cannot see what is happening. But in behaviorism, Watson said like, okay, no matter what is happening inside the brain or inside the mind, that is not my concern. My concern is about observable behavior. Maybe the student like or not, if you are telling it, if you are punishing, if you are pushing them, they will do the thing that you are expecting in the classroom, right? Because of your push or force, right? But Watson said, no matter, like, okay, if you force them or if you tell them or if you punch them, no matter. But I need to see the observable behavior, right? Don't tell me like inside him it is changing. No, it is not, right? Inside him it is changing. No, right? So because of that, please make sure like in your classrooms as well, you do have lots of kids that you are teaching, right? So if you are thinking like inside they are changing, that is another thing. Behaviorism is all about like you need to have the observable facts like, okay, he's changing, right? Today like when he's coming to the classroom he just said good morning, right? That means some of the kids are there, they are changing, but it is not showing to the outside, right? But here, what we are expecting is nothing is happening in the inside. You need something to observe from outside. That's all, right? So that is the main explanation, right, about the main principle about behaviorism, right? Okay, and so I'm going to the next one, right? That means assumptions. That means assumptions. What are the assumptions? What are the ground rules that you are having and behaviorism, right? Most of the time, mm, learning occurs through interaction with the environment. The first thing is that, right? Always thinking like there's nothing called intuition, right? There's nothing called intuition. Always people are learning things with that interaction. Interaction means, in other words, like through the experience, right? When you interact with the environment, only you are learning. As an example, a small kid who is touching the that means flare in the candle, right? Candlelight, right? And when he sees it, right, he's thinking it is kind of a fascinating thing because it is brightening and it is like flaming. So what they are going to do is, they don't know when you touch the flame it could burn, right? So what they are trying to do is they're trying to touch it, right? So interacting with the environment, and by interacting for the first time in their life, if they touch it, they feel like it is kind of giving a pain to their fingers, right? Then only they are understanding, okay, this is very nice, this is very beautiful, this flare is very beautiful, that candlelight is very beautiful, right? uh, but I do not need to touch the flames, right? So you interact with the environment and you learn it, but always in your brain it is there as an experience. If your experience is bad, you are not going to do it. If your experience is good, you are thinking, ah, okay, there's no harm, we'll do it again, right? That's the thing, right? So that's why we are telling, like, if they seen a beard person, if they seen a beard person in a film who is killing the others, right? And when the kid is seeing those things every day, right? Next day, if he sees a person with a beard face, he's thinking he's a thug, right? Because through the interaction with the environment, he learned by the experience. Okay, I saw this kind of a person killing innocence. That is how they learned, right? How they learn, right? And also, the environment shaped the behavior. That's true. Another assumption, right? Not their attributes in their brain or their intuition skills, no nothing. Environment shape their behavior, right? Most of the time that is true in early learning kids, because their behavior shaped by the environment. If their parents are shouting every day at home, right? It will impact to their behavior, right? It will impact to their behavior. If the teacher is always neglecting him, it will impact to their behavior, right? It will impact to their behavior. So because the environment around them shapes their behavior, right? Because from the environment only they are getting all the inputs, how to behave, right? How to behave, right? So that's it, right? And also taking internal mental status such as thoughts, feelings, and emotions into consideration is useless in explaining the behavior. That's what I told you before as well, right? That means internal mental states such as thoughts, feelings, emotions, right? That means to get your behavior, you don't need to think about those how they feel it, right? What are the emotions that they are getting. One thing is what, when we are telling this is the behavior I'm expecting, no matter how you feel it, what is your emotion or what is your thought about it, just behave, right? Just behave, right? So that is behaviorism, because in the king's time also we had this kind of a way that rather than democratic countries, like normally if the leader is telling do this way, nobody cannot tell like, okay, that is how I think about it, or this is how I feel. No matter if your leader is telling to do it, just do it, right? That is your behavior, right? Okay. Up to now, everybody got what I'm telling. Any responses?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And then the second stage they had been came up as classical condition, right? Classical conditioning. So he had been came up with a kind of a slight change to the Watson's ideas, right? Watson's ideas by telling, okay, I'm giving them a condition that I'm always giving them a condition to change their behaviors. So I don't want to tell again and again about this dog story, right? How they change the behavior. Like I guess like this duties they are with you. So I don't think like I need to explain it again and again, like what had happened, that how the dog training worked, right? So you can see like slightly I'll tell like if there are new people are there, right? That means the first stage what he had been done was in his experiment, what he had been done was first he just get a dog and just show the dog that means give them food, right? When the dog saw the food, right, his response was its response was saliva, right? Because that means he's having an idea that I'm about to eat, right? About to eat, right? So that is unconditioned response, right? Unconditioned response. That is the normal scenario, right? And the second stage, what he had been done was, he just rang a bell, and the dog's response is no saliva. That is natural, right? No conditioned response. Because the thing is, like when the dog, because dogs' experience about food is like when they seize the food only, he has a mental picture. This is how my food is going to be, right? When I see the food, like naturally they are getting saliva. So when they hear a bell sound, he is not going to have saliva, because it is not that is just a natural stimulus. That means like as an example, when you see a mosquito, right, for the first time in your life, you don't know how it is going to be pain like when the mosquito is biting you. But because of that you are not considering about mosquito. That's why small kids are like going to play with mosquitoes, like play with small animals, insects, right? But in your experience as an adult, you know like mosquito is this kind of insect, right? when they are when they are biting you, it is giving you a big pain, right? So because of that, normally you are telling, don't go near them, right? So likewise, here what he had been done was he rang the bell, but dog haven't got any kind of an idea what is this bell is about. It is not. Then the third stage, what he had been done was he rang the bell and then show the food, right? Then he understood, and what the eval had been done was like every day. What he had been done was for consecutively 3 4 days, he uh, he showed the dog like, okay, food is there. When the food is there, like dog is getting saliva. Next day, what he had been done was he rang the bell, no response. But the other day, what he had been done was, okay, bell rang, then he showed him the food. Every day, bell rang, then the food. Bell rang, then the food. And then, after consecutively, when he done it for 1 week, 2 weeks time, what happened was automatically, dog is thinking, what? Every day when the bell rang, then only I got the food. That means anytime when I'm hearing a bell is ringing, that means it is food, right? That is how its behavior had been changed according to the experience. And the fourth stage, he achieved it. But the achievement is that when bell is ringing, dog is getting saliva, then he don't need to see the food because he knows according to his experience, the good dog's experience. But when the bell is there, next thing is the food, right? So because of that, automatically when they are hearing the bell, automatically saliva is coming, right? So that's it. Fourth stages, how it had been changed. That is his experiment is about, right? So in the classical conditioning, the main four principles are the unconditioned stimulus, right? That means unconditioned stimulus means the natural stimulus, right? That means unconditioned, naturally, automatically triggers a response, right? That means you have unconditioned stimulus, right? Because day to day, like you are having unconditioned stimulus, like as an example, when something is coming to your mm, eye, something is coming to your eye directly, your eyelids are being closing. That is what? That is unconditioned, right? Because you know, like it need to happen automatically. It is triggering automatically. You don't have any control over that, right? Even like if you are just opening your eyelids only, it will hit you. If not, your eyes are going to close, right? That is how it works, right? Because it is unconditional stimulus. And then unconditioned response, that means along with the stimulus you are having the response, right? Occurs naturally, right? Stimulus and the response, like you know, like the stimulus is happening in your nerve system. So stimulus is about something is coming to my eye, right? So and the response is your lids are being closed, right? And conditioned stimulus means like the most easy understandable example is whatever the thing that is happening in your school in the interval time, right? In the first bell, students are not that much of getting a kind of a rush on their that means that interval pack, that food, right? Second bell, no. Third bell, they're having kind of a um, change in their behavior, right? Fourth bell means the interval, right? Sometimes you cannot even control them, right? That means after that bell, because they know it's like this is the time for them to eat, right? So the conditioned stimulus, according to that, the conditioned response is they learned it, and according to that learning, what they are doing is they are just following the rule. That means they are just going to the lunchroom or cafeteria and get their food, right? So that means you have been given a condition as a bell, right? Condition as a bell, right? So that's a way, right? That's the way it goes, right? As an example, when you done your examinations, right? When you done your examinations, you know, conditioned stimulus is like I'll tell you good example, right? Conditioned stimulus, right? When nobody is there in your exam hall, right? And maybe sometimes you don't have a watch in your hand, right? Wristwatch in your hand, right? And also if there's no clock even, if you oh, you cannot see the clock because it is in your backside, like back of your head, right? You cannot see the clock or the time, but you are writing your examination. But as soon as your examiner is coming to the exam hall, your responses are getting different because you are understanding, okay, this is the last 15 minutes, I guess, right? So then you are changing your responses, like you are trying to fill up the most sure questions rather than unsure questions. You are not attending the difficult questions. You are choosing the easy questions and writing those things quickly because you know there is no that means a big time frame is there because examine is there in outside, right? So that is what the conditioned stimulus, and according to that the stimulus is the examiner, right? The response is you are just eager to, that means do the things quicker. That's the thing, right? So conditioned stimulus, it can be a symbol, it can be a sound, it can be a person, it can be like a command or anything. That is a stimulus, and according to that stimulus, you are having a response, right? You are having a response. That's the thing, right? So another, if you want another example, I can just tell, like in a in a football match, right? The referee is putting just means sounding his whistle, right? After the whistle only they are starting the game, right? And when they put the whistle again, the long whistle, they knows like it is half time or finish the game, right? So according to the stimulus, they do have a response, right? They are not continuously playing the football after that means continuous final whistle is being blown, right? Because they knows that there's no point, right? Because the whistle had been blown, right? So that is your response, right? For the kids as well, that is same. I just given you some examples, different examples in different scenarios, right? Okay. And in the classical conditioning, that means different phenomena are there. That means different concepts are there when they are getting the behavior, right? That means the first thing is acquisition. Acquisition is the initial stage of learning when the response is first established and gradually strengthened. Because that is also, right? Because for the first time when the people are learning something, you cannot expect the perfection from the first stage. Why? Because that is the first time they are learning that stimulus or getting that stimulus, and they are changing their behavior. So you cannot expect it. But acquisition is all about every day when you are practicing, automatically it is coming into strengthened one or perfect one, right? Because as an example, think about, like in your classroom there could be a different kid, difficult kid, right? First day, as soon as he or she comes to the classroom, like he's eating his meal, interval meal, by the mid of the class, mid of the session, right? First day you are telling, don't do it, don't do it, it is a bad practice. But still, second day also you can see that he's not totally stopped eating, but she or he is just eating some, right? Third day also you are doing the same. Fourth day also you are doing the same. Fifth day also doing it. But you will see a total, that means revocation, by another 2 weeks time, because that is how they are acquiring their knowledge, right? Acquisition, that means by the initial stage the learning would not happen properly, but along with the time, if you are continuously practicing the conditioning, you will see a strengthened responses, right? And extinction, when occurrences of conditioned response decrease and disappear. That is also, as teachers, right? On first dates, like teachers shouting and telling to the kids and punishing them, so they know, so okay, this teacher is coming, this teacher is this kind of a person, right? So we need to see before she's coming into the class, because on your first week you are always blaming, shouting to the student, not blaming, sorry, shouting to the students, punishing them if they are standing up and those things. But after 1 week time, you are feeling like there's no need. Now the people are sitting when we are coming to the class. But if you can practically see that the next days when you are coming to the class, sometimes like people are standing up, but you are not shouting. But you're not shouting. You're not telling anything, right? And then gradually your audience is thinking about, this person is now not using that condition, and automatically what is happening, your response is extinct, right? Your response is getting extinct. That's the problem. In these days, in the curfew period, that is also the same. First day when the curfew is there, Policy is there in everywhere, right? Everywhere, every junction, right? People haven't gone out even, right? Because why? Because when we go out, like they will catch up for the curfew. They uh, they just catch up for that means we are not following the curfew rules. So most of the people have been inside. But then what happened was everybody had been shown pharmacy slips and different evidences, and then they go out. Even the policy is there. Policy is not that much of strict on those things. What happened? Now, at the initial stage, everybody was in the house, but now what happens is now the conditions are now gradually decreasing. Now people are not much, oh sorry, not people, policy is not that much of controlling them. When they are feeling it, what happens is people are trying to come out. Okay, policy is not that much of strict. So that means what? Extinction of your behavior, right? That means your responses. Response is your behavior, so it is decreasing, right? I now I think like in Colombo it is continuous now, like 20 days kind of curfew was there. So now you can feel like when I'm asking from my friends in Colombo, some of them are telling there's no that much of a curfew much on because most of the people are having curfew passes, right? So then there is no point of having a curfew because everybody is having curfew passes, right? So that is called extinction, right? Okay. And you've seen like acquisition, good example is India, right? They put the curfew, they seem like, okay, the people are coming out because they do not have a proper condition. They use a condition because policy is coming out and hitting them with different objects, right? So they are punishing them. Now it is gradually strengthening. Then when they are seeing police, they are running because they acquire the knowledge that if the policy is there, I will hit by them. So that's the way, right? And spontaneous recovery, that means reappearance of conditioned response after rest period or period less responses. That is another thing. That means most of the time the police can do it because every day they cannot go on every road, right? But you can have a like accidental visit, right? Spontaneous recovery. So reappearance of condition again, right? As an example, in your classrooms, you can do because every day if you are checking their nails, it is not going to work, right? Rather than that, what you can do is you don't have to tell like even each and every week I'm testing your nails or checking your nails. Oh yeah, no, it is not going to work. Then people knows every Friday then she will check our nails or the hair. No, don't do it. Rather than that, one day just show it like okay, just check their hands and see how their nails are, right? And then punish them, whatever the people who are having the adverse effects. And then after that, don't show them like what is your schedule or every day, no nothing. What you can do is after another 1 month time, like if you feel like today I have to check, just check it. Then only that is called what? Spontaneous, right? In that kind of situation, as soon as you are checking like nails, what happens? Accidental visit, check the nails of the student. So here, what happened is they are again remembering, okay, 1 month before she checked it and these people got punished. So we have to recover. So they are recovering whatever the lessons they learned and they are responding accordingly, right? Spontaneous, right? And sometimes there is another thing called stimulus generation. Is tendency, condition stimulus, evoke similar response after response have been conditioned, right? That means stimulus generalization means mostly it is happening like not only that means one teacher is doing it, but then even other teachers are not having that kind of an idea to do it, that stimulus, so that means conditional behavior. But when because that is happening because one teacher is coming and punishing them, not that means because of you are standing in the classroom, But when the next teacher is coming, next teacher is not having that kind of an idea, but all the people are being sick. What is the reason? Because they do have a generalized idea. When the teacher is coming to the classroom, we need to sit, no matter who is the teacher, right? That means your stimulus is getting generalized. Your stimulus is a teacher. Your response is to sit, right? No matter what, no matter what, right? So that's the way, that's the way, that's all, right? Okay. And the other thing is the discrimination is the ability to differentiate between a conditioned stimulus and other stimuli that have not been paired with an unconditioned stimulus, right? That means like discriminate means, as an example, some of the responses are there, right? Responses are there, not the condition, not because of the conditioned stimulus, right? Not because of the conditioned stimulus. As an example, right? As an example, some of the people are thinking like when the teacher is coming, teacher is a person who needs to respect. So they are sitting, not because of teacher is giving us conditioned stimulus like if you are standing up, I am punishing you. That is a conditioned stimulus. But here, some of the kids are being sitting in the classroom not because of that conditioned stimulus, but because of their idea about their mother or father had been told like you have to respect your teacher. So it is other stimuli, right? Not your punishing stimuli, right? Understood? So sometimes some of the people are thinking like, okay, that means, as an example, I'll tell you a very understandable one, right? These days, when you see the police jeep, right? Police jeep, sometimes people are thinking, okay, like police is coming and they are having the ability to punish us. So because of that, we need to be inside the house, right? Not because of they are hitting or they are getting you into the jail, right? Conditional stimulus is in the curfew time. In the curfew time, like if you are in the outside, like they can bring you to the jail, right? That is a conditioned stimulus. But other stimuli is sometimes some of the people are there, like when they see a police jeep, they don't like police jeeps. So because of that, they are inside the house, right? Not because of that condition, but because of their that means they are natural stimuli. They are natural stimuli or they are common stimuli about like policies. We don't need to mess up with police. That's all, right? Okay. Discrimination, right? Right. That means those are the five principles, that phenomena that you need to understand when it comes to the classical conditioning, right? In the classical conditioning, again, I'm telling, right? He said about different four things: unconditioned stimulus, unconditioned response. That means like it is natural stimulus, natural stimulus. For natural stimulus, we are having natural responses, right? Conditioned stimulus, that means the things that forcefully put into our minds, and according to that, we do have our conditioned responses, right? Okay. Okay.
Excuse me, Dr. Madhu. If you can send this slide in the chat, then all people can access.
I think they do have the. They
It
do
goes.
have the.
We have the tudes, sir.
Yeah,
We
you
have
have.
Okay.
the tunes, yes.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. That's great. Okay. You continue.
Okay. And then,
Sir, actually, some were absent, so probably they don't have it.
okay, because after the session, I can, because right now you can see, because after the session, I can mail it.
Yeah. Okay. That's great.
Okay, I can mail it. And
Sir, is it possible to explain the fifth one more time?
sorry,
Is it possible to explain the fifth one more time?
Okay, that means discrimination.
Yeah.
Discrimination. Again, about I'm telling like differentiate between the condition and other stimuli. Other stimuli means again I'm telling you. Sometimes you have your own stimulus are there. As an example, my example was about the police law. Okay, I'll tell you another example, like about the yeah, about the cockroaches, right? Small insects, right? Your stimuli about the insects is like your personal stimuli, personal response is there when you see insects, right? When you see insects, right? You don't like them, right? You running away, right? But sometimes there could be a conditioned stimuli, like because sometimes people would tell or to make you not to eat some foods, right? Or whatever the food. A person can tell like there was a cockroach over there, right?
Mm.
Cockroach over there. That is a or putting something like near to that. Then actually that not because of that condition you don't love it, but because of your natural stimuli you don't go there, right? Or as an example about the teachers, right? As an example about the teachers, like as an example, some of the kids are there, they respect teachers not because of anything, because they do have another stimuli that they seen a film in a film because of the teacher is coming to the classroom and punishing them, right? Because of that, when they see a teacher, they are going there and sometimes respecting them. Or when they are coming, when the teacher is coming to the classroom, they are sitting and being ready to the lesson, not because of that your conditioned stimulus or conditioned behavioral change, but because of other stimuli, right? Other stimuli means whatever the thing that they have been seen in the television, or maybe their father or mother had been told it, right? That is another stimuli, but the teacher could think that no, because of my way of controlling, these kids are behaving like that, but it is not. Understood what I mean?
Yes.
Got it?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Right? That means discrimination means understanding wrongfully that your conditioned stimulus.
Dear students, can you just mute your mic? Miss Safina?
So that's not Safina, that's Safna.
Okay. When it comes to the, as I told you, like the discrimination is all about, some of the people could understand like this behavioral change had been happened because of the condition that you had been put. Sometimes it is not. It could be some other reason. Some other reason means sometimes your respondents could have different stimulus, right? Other different stimuli about some kind of a event. So because of that, they are changing the behavior, not because of your conditioned stimulus, right? But you are wrongfully understanding, these people change the behavior because of me. No, that is not. So that is why I'm telling it is the discrimination is about all about it, right? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess, right? And the applicable one to you as the teachers, because other these two people, that means Watson and also Evan, those two people have been came up with the psychological theories, not only for the kids or education. He had been came up. They both had been came up with those ideas to control behaviors of different mental illnesses, right? Mental illnesses, right? because this is human learning. First day also I told, human learning is all about psychological lesson, right? Psychological lesson, and it is all about um, your whole life, not about classroom teaching or learning, right? Because classroom, the learning is happening everywhere, not only by the books or in your classroom. In the classroom, like when you are teaching, no, from the environment, people are learning, right? Every day they are learning, even when they are walking, sleeping, every time they are learning. So human learning is about how they learn. So operant conditioning is about this Skinner. He had been came up because this person is a educationist, right? This person is an educationist. Most of the time, he came up with education theories, Skinner, right? He came up with a concept called, rather than classical conditioning, he came up with, he just improved what Ivan had been done, right? That means he improved what Ivan had been done, and he came up with another theory called operant conditioning, right? He's telling, he's believing that, uh, okay, no problem, right? There needs to have the stimuli, but and this is it. Internal thoughts and motivation could not be used to explain the behavior, right? So because of that, he said like you need to give them something, right, externally, and you need to observe the causes of the human behavior. That means the Ivan had been told something else. He said about the whatever the way that we are using, they will change the behavior. But he came up with another idea. He said, with the condition, with the every condition, put it as a positive one and negative side as well. Positive side as well as a negative side, right? So along with it, he came up with an idea. What is that? Determining the probability that the behavior will occur again, right? That means, like he's telling you, if you just control them, or if you just give a condition stimuli, it doesn't make sure that the respondent will improve it or follow it every day, right? Because we got two concepts. One thing is acquisition. Acquisition means you have to continuously do it, and then your behavior is getting strengthened, strengthened, strengthened. So you have to continuously do. But the time when you stop it, what happens? It is getting what, weaker and weaker, and people are thinking what? Now they are not controlling us, so your behavior is getting extinct. Your behavior is getting extinct. So because of that, this person had been told, no, 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 let them to decide. Let them to decide. Let them to give a motivation. Along with the motivation, uh, that means he's thinking like he could think like, okay, according to the motivation, like these people will use this behavior, and they do have a wish to uh, get the motivations again and again, right? So because of that, they will continue this behavior, right? I'll give you a good example for this, like in your classroom, right? If you give a student who is doing good in your classroom test or something, if you give them a chocolate, right? And then again, you are not doing everyday classroom test, like you can tell in the next test as well, if you are doing it well, like the person who is getting the highest marks for the first three people, I'm giving chocolates, right? And then people are thinking, okay, I have to continue my behavior to be the first, right? To be the first, right? And then only I'm getting this kind of benefits or motivators, right? So because of that, the Skinner is telling, like, just give them the kind of a curiosity, a probability, right? If you do this thing or up to this level, or like if you do this one only, you will get this kind of a reward. then it gives a kind of a benefit to you. What is that? It gives a higher probability of every person is trying to follow your what stimuli, right? Because to be the first in the class, right? So along with it, when everybody is trying to be the first in the class, your class is automatically having brighter students, right? Okay. So operant conditioning, he came up with mainly two things, mainly three things actually. One thing, sorry, not three things, four things, sorry, four things. Uh, he told there are two kinds of reinforcers, positive reinforcers and negative reinforcers, right? That means positive reinforcers means favorable events or outcomes that are presented after the behavior. As I told you, give them chocolates, right? Favorable events or an outcome, right? So that reflect the positive reinforcement, respond to the behavior, and strengthened by addition of something such as praise or a direct reward, right? So that means like what you can do, you can strengthen your behavior, right? You can strengthen their behavior. As I told you in the classroom in the previous time, I just said that don't give them 3 stars at the first day, right? Even if they do your best thing, don't give them the 3 stars, right? Because that is your maximum. You cannot give 4 stars, right? So just give 1 star, right? Because others are not getting any star, right? And then if you want to do it or strengthen it, next time just give them like 2 stars and give them another target, like you can get 3 stars, that is the best, or you can get 5 stars, it is the best, right? So then those people will strengthen the behavior. That means rapidly do the same. That means that's why they are telling praise or a direct reward or anything like that, right? Okay. And negative reinforcers involve removal of unfavorable events or outcomes after display of a behavior. So that means response is strengthened by removal of something considered unpleasant, right? That means what you are going to do is negative reinforcer means the students are there, right? I'll give you a good example, right? Students are there, right? After you come to the class, they are sitting in the classroom, right? That means continuously you stay. That means the students are one by one, they are sitting in the classroom, right? Think about like if you have 50 kids, right? All 50 kids are going here and there and sitting means you have to spend another 5 minutes time until they getting settled, right? So that means you have a behavior change because of you. There is a behavior change because teacher came, students are now sitting in the classroom. But what happened is still there is a thing called unpleasant or some negative aspects in the condition as well. What is the negative aspect? The negative aspect is still students are not settled in before you are coming into the classroom, right? So then you can give them negative reinforcement, right? Negative reinforcement, right? That means like you can tell them, you can give them something kind of yeah. That means you can tell them, okay, when I'm coming in the classroom, only 10 students were sick here, right? Now you all have been sick, right? That means these are the 10 students I'm always giving stars because these are the good students. You are not good students, right? Because why? It is a negative reinforcement. Now people are thinking, even we sick, it is not the behavior my teacher is expecting. My teacher is expecting before she comes, we need to settle in the classroom, So that means it is strengthened the responses, right? The response is strengthened, improved, right? That means sitting is the response you expect on the first day. Second day, you can expect sitting, but after 3 weeks, sitting is so. After you are coming into the classroom and settling is not the response you are expecting. Now you need additional one, or you need to improve that. That means timely. When you are coming to the classroom, everybody needs to be settled, right? So you can give them what negative reinforcements. Even they do it, you can tell them, no, that is not I'm expecting. So you can strengthen their behavior, right? Strengthen their behavior. But I'm always telling, don't expect the perfection on the first day, right? First day you cannot expect the perfection. First day you can expect the general behavior, right? Or general, that means you have to generalize, or you have to reduce your expectation, right? You have to get only the must needed response, not the additional ones, right? So because of that, don't expect the perfection on the first day. First day, just try to change their behavior, but slightly, continuously, you have to change their behavior slightly by slightly up to the perfection. Understood what I mean? Right? As an example, in your classroom, if you are teaching mathematics or if you are teaching English, you cannot expect perfect English on the first day. Or if you are teaching to paint pictures, don't expect the perfection on the first day, like not putting anything outside of the what do you call drawing area, right? When they are painting an orange, first day you need to make sure like they are painting an orange, right? And it is in orange color. Don't expect from them like they are doing it perfectly without any what do you call gaps, or not having like drawing lines outside of the border of the drawing, right? Don't expect those things, because first day just tell this is good, but next day you can tell them, kid, when you are painting, there are some areas that haven't painted properly. So you have to tell them, so this is not a good picture. But don't do it in the first day, because they will demotivate and demoralized. But in the second day, if you do it, no problem. Third day, fourth day, fifth day, just do it. But after fifth day, you can tell, don't put your paints outside of the drawing area. Then it is not good. Then you are stage by stage making them perfect using negative reinforcers, right? Understood? Anybody has questions or anything like that? Okay, right. Okay, no problem. Right. And I'm going to the next point. I'm going to the next point, that is operant conditioning. That is, we talk about the reinforcements. Now we are talking about the punishments, another two aspects. Punishments, on the other hand, the presentation of adverse effect or outcome causes decrease the behavior. And there are two kinds of punishment. Positive, sometimes referred to as punishment by application, right? Unfavorably meant or outcome in order to weaken the response. That means, like, well, as an example, positive punishment means if they done a big mistake, right? Big mistake, right? Um, what you're going to do is, I'll give you a good example. Right? I'll give you a good example. Right? If a student is shouting in the classroom, the positive punishment is about you need to see that this person is like shouting in the classroom. It need to be reduced. So what you can do is you can give them a punishment, like standing up in the classroom, go front in the classroom and standing up by showing to everybody. Like, okay, oh, you can let them to kneel and just wait in the classroom. That kind of story, right? You know the punishments, right? But the most important thing is the negative punishment. That is the most important thing that teachers need to learn. That means, like negative punishment means you are reducing the punishment when you are seeing the good behavior, right? When you are seeing the good behavior, you are reducing the punishment. As an example, as I told you, like this is happening in the jail cells, right? That means first day when they comes to the jail, like they are fighting with everybody and showing a very bad behavior. What the jailers are doing is putting into a separate cell, a darker one, no lights even, right? And let them to just be in the cell, even not getting him outside and chaining them, right? And after 1 week time, the jailers are going there and telling, do you want to be improved? They will tell, no, no problem. Like I'm expecting, like also I accept, like I just done very big mistake, so I'm not behaving like that. Then the next day, what they are doing is they're asking, okay, we'll give you lights into your cell, right? Now the punishment is still there. The punishment is there because still you are not a socialized person. So the punishment is there, but the punishment is being reduced. Rather than a dark room, now you have a lighting room. Next day you can ask like, okay, your chains are there, but you can come out, right? And then the jailers are telling, we are putting the chains because you are fighting with other people. That's right? You're fighting with other people. That's why your chains are on. Then if the behavior is changing stage by stage, the punishment is reducing. Then automatically what happens is you are giving a punishment. Now the punishment is reducing. Then the respondent is thinking, my punishments are reducing because of my good behavior. So I need to come into the good part. Then my punishments are getting reduced, right? So that's the scenario. So because of that, all the time for teachers as well, what we are telling is, okay, don't give the punishments every day, the same punishment to the students, because then it is becoming common. Rather than that, if they just come into the class, like if they cut the period, just give one punishment. But if they haven't cut the period or if they come late, just give them a kind of a reduced version, minor version, right? Because if not, they could think, even I cut the class, and that person is getting this punishment as I am, right? Even I came to the classroom, I just go into the washroom and came, but I'm getting the punishment as same as the other person. So then they could think next day I'm not coming to the class, right? If I just get delay, I'm not coming to the class, I'm cutting the period. That is good, right? Then automatically what happens is their behavior is getting worse rather than getting better. Understood what I mean? So because of that, rather than the positive punishment, negative punishment is the applicable one to control the behavior of the students. Have you got it? What is my example is? Right? Day-to-day life. Anybody? Like, if you can give me a response, it is good because, okay. Okay. All right, thank you. Yes. And then along with it, I'm going to the next level. That is this. What is that? That is, okay. Thank you. And here, this graph is very important to you, right? That means it is showing punishment, decrease the frequency, reinforcements, increase the frequency, right? That means punishment decrease the frequency and reinforcement increase the frequency, right? And your objective is, if you want to give the reinforcement, it needs to be to increase the frequency. If you want to decrease the frequency of something behavior, you need to use punishments, right? And then you can see that means positive and negative aspect. That means positive and negative aspect, right? Positive aspect is for positive means you are giving apply stimulus. You are giving more and more, right? When you are doing, as an example, if I give you the positive reinforcements, right? If you want to increase the frequency, what you're going to do is apply stimulus. First day, 1 star. Second day, if you are doing good, 2 star. Third day, 3 star, 4 star. Like you are applying the stimulus, so increasing the stimulus, right? Increasing the stimulus, right? And at the same time, negative reinforcement means first day he done good, but the second day he's not. So remove the star, but still you are doing good. The praise is there, but remove the star, because why? You have to tell, I expect more than that from you, right? Yes, it is a reinforcement, but it's negative, right? Negative. That is, you have to tell to the kid, like, I'm expecting more than that from you, right? So because of that, I just want this kind of behavior from you. So you are using negative reinforcement. And positive punishment and negative punishment, I think, like you understood, like negative punishment is about removing stimulus. That means, as I told you, stimulus are removing. First day, you have the dark room chained and in the cell only. But when your behavior is getting better, negative punishments. That means you are removing some of the stimulus, right? That means chains are not there, light is there. Cell is now not only in the cell, you can walk outside as well, right? So removing stimulus, right? As an example, when your kid is cutting the periods, one punishment, right? When the kid is coming to the classroom, it is another punishment, right? When your kid is just late for 5 minutes for going to the toilet, is another punishment, right? Those 3 punishments need to be different, right? Understood? If not, people could think that everybody is getting the same punishment, means I have to do the maximum, the bad behavior. That's all, right? Okay, that is the way it goes, right? So you can understand it when you caught up with the police as well, right? When you caught up with the police, in the traffic police, on the road, like when you are driving your car, or your husband is driving your car, and maybe your husband or yourself had been caught up by the traffic for cutting the lines, maybe, right? It is a small thing. It is a small thing, and another person is there who had been caught up with the traffic bike for high speeding, or while the pedestrians are crossing the crossing lines, right? He had been drove on that, right? So it is a very big mistake, but your mistake is a small one, but you both are getting the same fine, 25,000, right? Then you could think that, see, that means even though those people done a big mistake, they are getting this kind of money, and also I done a very small thing, but I am getting the same thing. So next day you are thinking, well, like, no matter, like I can do whatever the bad behavior on the road, because the maximum is 25,000. Because for that day, even I done a small thing, I got a fine of 25,000. So that is how the human brain is working, right? Human brain is always what? I told you, human brain is what? Human answer. Human brain is what? Rational. Do you remember that? Right? Your brain is rational, right? Your brain is rational brain. What do you mean by a rational brain? Rational brain means your brain is always reasoning, right? and satisfy yourself. Your brain is always reasoning. That means whatever the thing that is happening, your brain is reasoning. Okay, that is happening because of my sin, because of my previous life, because of somebody else, right? These days, people are telling those kind of things. That corona came because of we done something wrong, very big wrong, right? So our brain is rational. Always our brain is trying to find reasons, why I'm getting a reinforcement, why I'm getting a punishment, right? That is how your brain is working, rational brain. Okay, understood? Or not? Okay, okay, thank you. Because that is the most important thing. That means like your rational brain, right? Right? These days, maybe you have a lot of rational activities are going through your head, like because of this is happened to me, because of that is happened to me. Likewise, people are telling that kind of way. So likewise, our people, that means for kids as well, the rational thing is there, right? Okay, good. And in operant conditioning, we told like the important components of learning process, continuous reinforcements and partial reinforcement. This is very important thing. As I told you, the thing is continuous reinforcements, right? That means what? Desired behavior reinforce every single time it occurs. Generally, this schedule is best to use during initial stages in order to create a strong association between the behavior and the response. That's what I say, right? That means if you want to give the continuous reinforcement, just give it continuously, but make sure you are not giving the maximum reinforcements, right? Maximum one. Because if you give the maximum one, you don't have something to give in the next time, right? But the other thing is partial reinforcement. That means reinforce only part of the time, right? That means acquired more slowly with the partial reinforcements, right? But response is more what? Resistant to extinction, right? That means partial responses, because if not, you will ask from me a question like, sir, you have been told, like, if we are not continuously doing something, that response will extinct. So that is why this example, this slide is given you. That means you have to give a partial reinforcement if your response is more extinct, more resistant to extinct. That means, as an example, the time you are coming to the school, right? Time you are coming to the school, you don't have to every day giving stars for coming to the school on time, because after some time, the students are getting along with it, right? Then they are not extinct that response, right? Understood what I mean, right? They are not going to forget the behavior, right? They are not going to forget the behavior easily, right? So you don't have to do the reinforcement every day. Ah, kid, you came to the school on time. Ah, today also you came on time. Next day, all 365 days, you are telling, ah, you came to the school on time. It is not going to work, because he could think that okay, every day I'm getting like I came to the school on time. It is no, because it is adverse. That is what I tell. Like partial reinforcement means you can have some term test, right? Partial reinforcement, not every day. Term test, right? Time to time you are getting, because those things are not getting extinct, right? But continuous one means, continuous reinforcement means until the kids are coming into a strong behavior, up to a strong level of behavior, you are giving continuously. After that, what you're going to do is, like you know now, these kids are continuously doing it. So that's why you are giving dictations every week, but you are giving term test once in every 3 months, right? Understood? Because dictations means like they need to remember the characters and all those things. So you need to do it continuously because there are lots of words. And but when it comes to term test is you are checking everything at once. So don't do it every day. Then it is more adverse, right? More than it needed. Sometimes people get demotivated because of this more and more adverse testing. Right? Okay. Right? Got it? Right? Because most of the teachers, we need to understand that, like what is the continuous reinforcement, like where you need to give the continuous reinforcement. As an example, think about in your degree as well. Like if I'm giving you like every week assignments, it is not going to work. But if we give one assignment after per subject, it is going to work, right? Because along with the assignment work, you are getting marks, so you are getting what? Reinforcement, right? It is a partial one because every day you are learning, but the you know, it's like you need to get the marks from the assignment. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I guess like anybody has questions? Right. See, as I told you, like four schedule of partial reinforcement. You can give the partial reinforcement in different schedules, right? That means different schedules. See, that means as I told you, fixed ratio schedule, right? After a specific number of responses, this schedule produces high steady rate responding with the only brief pause after delivery of reinforcement, right? That is like you are the first in the classroom, second in the classroom, third in the classroom. It is happening in April, August, and December, right? Term test, right? Term test, right? So that means variable ratio, reinforcement, unpredictable number of responses. That means like variables means like you can give them homeworks, student, you can give them homeworks, like, but what happens is like some of the students are doing the homeworks like every all the homeworks within 2-3 days. Some of them are doing the homeworks once in a week, right? So you can give them the Australia is using this one. Australia is using yeah, Australia is using in their assignment works, in their exams. What they are doing is they are giving past questions, merit questions, and distinction questions. Right? Three levels of questions. Right? Some of the students only need to do the past questions, but they will end up with the pass. Right? But only the past questions. No need of doing merit questions or distinction questions. But you have all the questions in your assignment, right? And some of the students are doing merit questions and past questions both, but not the distinction questions, right? Because distinction questions are different, right? Because past questions are really easy, right? Really easy. That means, as an example, sometimes matching the couples, sometimes filling the blanks, those kind of very simple ones. Merit questions are you have to go through the internet and find out some cases and give the answers. Sometimes comprehensive ones, those kind of. Distinction level is you have to find out research and you have to present your own ideas. It is far more difficult, right? So what happens is, when you are giving them variable ratio schedules, what happens is uh, you are getting unpredictable number of responses. You don't know how many people will do the distinction ones or the credit ones or the, but you know, like to go to the next stage, you have to do the passes, right? Understood? Variable ratio, right? You are using through a schedule, like you are giving them, but the thing is you are getting different responses, right? Not the fixed ratio, right? And fixed intervals, right? According to the time lapses, right? And variable schedules, like as I told you, like fixed schedule intervals means, like, you know, once in 3 months when you are going to put a exam, you know, it's like, okay, the exams need to be put in once in 3 months, because whatever the thing that they learned in the first lesson up to fourth lesson, I need to check it in the first term test. And second term test, I'm going to check 30% of the first semester things and 70% of the second semester things. But in the third last term's test, you are checking 20% of the first term lessons, 30% of the second term lessons, and 50% of the last term lessons. Because why? You know what? Their memory is fading, right? But memory is fading, but you need to make sure that they remembers the principal things, right? So that's why they are telling this schedule causes high amount of responding near to the end of interval, but much slower responding immediately after delivering the reinforcement, right? That means like the that means that's why we are asking the first term test 100%, second 100% of the first semester, but second term test we are asking only 30% of the first semester. In the last term test we are asking only 20%. Why? Because we know it's like they are, even if they get the reinforcement, but they are slower responding is there along with the intervals, right? So we are talking about this one. I don't know, like who will be doing this lesson to you, but there is in the techniques of teaching and learning, that module you are learning Bloom's taxonomy, right? That Bloom's taxonomy is the principle that we are using to build our assessments, right? So Bloom's taxonomy that had been built based on this one, right? Okay. And variable interval schedules occurs responses is rewards after the unpredictable amount of time has passed. So the schedule produces slow, steady rate of responses. That means, that is why this variable interval schedules means what you are going to do is, sometimes when you are teaching in the classroom, sometimes um, when you teach them the mathematics, right? First 3 days, every day you are asking questions after the class or next day. But after that, what you are going to do is, you know, like they know addition, subtraction, multiplication, and deviation. Then once in 2 days, you are asking questions, right? So your schedule is variable, very in intervals, right? Because you need to check whether that they remembers whatever the mathematical functions, but you are checking those things in variable intervals, right? Not the fixed intervals, right? Okay. Anything like if you need any explanation or clarification or anything like that? If you need anything, just let me know. Like because as an example, when I'm doing this kind of lectures, like online lectures, I'm always expecting the responses from my respondents, because I cannot read non-verbal cues, because I'm not seeing your faces. But if you are in the classroom face to face, I know your minds, your eyes are getting smaller, bigger, and your eyes are getting faded or not. Like I know, then I know what are the times you are sleeping and what are the times you are waking up. So I know everything. But here, I don't know how many people are sleeping, right? Okay. So
We are
because of that,
we are very much awake and listening to you.
okay, but like online classrooms are like that
Yes,
kind of one
yes,
because I
sir.
done a research about it. Because I have some mental trauma. Like for everything, I'm doing some study, right? I'm finding like some cues to use in the online classroom, such as like asking questions time to time, right? Um, so that's what I'm asking. So the main idea is I need to, yeah, that is very boring. That is true. Very boring. The very boring is uh, the boring is coming up along with the way that we are interacting, right? So that's why because I thought of like
So I think that depends from person to person, isn't it?
yeah,
Because
that's
now
what
she
I
finds it boring, but for me, of course, it's
yeah
like
that is
interesting
that
because
is different because
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
outdoor
comfortable in my own environment, so I
that is
kind of feel
also
like
true.
this is more interesting.
yeah
Same here, because it's
So
like
basically, I want to look at the lecturer, look at
yeah
talk to
yeah
people and
that
interact. So that is what I'm missing
yeah
in. And you wanted
yeah,
us to mute and do it. So that makes it one-way communication, which I don't feel like promptly asking and disturbing you. So that's why I said it's boring, sir.
yeah.
Otherwise, nothing wrong in it.
That's all.
No. Actually, I prefer like according to the studies, like what happens is like in the face-to-face lecturing, face-to-face because this is important to your subject as well, the human learning as well. Because when you are seeing your lecturer, some of the people are because like there are different emotional intelligences are there with the people, right? As an example, like uh, some of the people are having kind of an idea like who is going to lecture, maybe Madhav is not there, another person is lecturing because we are not having that kind of an idea, right? So sometimes some of the people prefer, that means as an example for me, like because online learning is a very new thing to me because from my school age I learned by going to the classroom, sit in the classroom. It is a very conditional environment. Classroom is a very conditional environment. That means I cannot stand up whatever the time I want. I cannot drink water at whatever the time I want. I cannot eat whatever the time I want, right? But when it comes to the online learning, most of the time people are getting very comfy, right? They are in their own place and like that kind of. But in Sri Lanka, it is difficult. But like I'm doing the uh, lectures for Bucks University as well, like these Sri Lankan kids. But in that one, those kids are always I'm putting a chat and I'm asking, just let me know, have you understood, right? Have you understood anything, like because today lecture I'm not asking any questions, but next day I would ask questions, right? I would ask questions because I need to see that like even like for a kind of a limited period of time we would have this thing, right? But like world is evolving, so we need to evolve. That's all. That's all. Right, like Corona. Okay, good. Right, Corona has been evolved. Right, that's why it is COVID-19. Right. So anyway, right. So what you have to do is don't bother. Like I will give you lots of works. Right, I will give you lots of works. So nothing to worry. I'll give you some reinforcements like some words, right? And along with it, you will stay awake. Like next day, you will tell to Mr. Myron, don't put human learning class. But the other classes are very comfortable. But human learning, don't put. Right? Okay, good. And techniques in behaviorism. What are the techniques that you can use to implement behaviorism? Chaining involve breaking the task onto smaller components and simplest first task in the process of first. When the task is being learned, next task is being told. This continues until the entire sequence is successfully chained together, right? That is what is happening in your classroom teaching most of the time, right? You are teaching them first day how to add. That means your main idea is about mathematical functions. When you say mathematical functions, it is having add, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all those things. But on the first day, you are not going to teach them all four. Rather than that, you are breaking your task into smaller parts, right? And sometimes you are dividing it to more further. Like as an example, first day you are teaching to add one digit numbers, right? And then you are going to teach them how to add two digits and 3 digits, right? So that is how we work, right? And after each and every teaching, you are giving them a small question, 1 or 2 questions to do their own, right? And finally, after you are teaching all the addition, multiplication, division, and subtraction, all those 4, again you are giving them a common test to make sure that the addition also remember, subtraction also remember, multiplication and division all 4 remember. Right? That is called chaining. Chain your activity. You have a bigger picture, but you are going to the bigger picture stage by stage, task by task, right? Chaining, right? That's why most of the time we are telling, like, you do need to have prerequisites. Some of the subjects you are having prerequisites, right? Prerequisites. That means like you cannot learn techniques of principle of teaching and learning without learning human learning subject in your degree, because you cannot understand most of the things. And if you haven't learned principles of teaching learning, you cannot do the assessment and observation, right? Assessment and observation, because it is another thing, right? Without assessment and observation, you cannot go for the syllabus making, right? Last one, module, right? Those things are changed, right? Without human learning, you don't know learning techniques. So how could you learn the techniques of teaching and learning, right? And even when you learn the teaching and learning, if you are not knowing the teaching and learning, how you are going to talk about the observation and assessment? If you do not know how to put the assessment, how are you going to create your own syllabus? You don't know how to do it. Understood what I mean? So that's why chaining is very important, right? Smaller tasks, smaller components, adding together and go for the big task. Understood? I think it is understandable, right? Okay. I think it is understandable. And the other thing is, I like as an ice-breaking question, I didn't saw your proposals.
Sorry, sir, we have not given.
No, I didn't saw anybody's proposals. Like I think like you, along with the Corona.
That's
like
what. Yeah, Corona came in.
Yeah, that's.
Sir, I had requested Mayuran sir to give us a sample of the proposal. If we can get it, would be easy for us to make another one.
That means like a sample proposal.
Because just an example or a guideline to know that what all we need to include, how long
I put it on the board that day, I guess.
if we get a document while making it, it will be easy to refer.
Refer means like,
So I think she's talking about these where we have to what do you call that? The planning, sir. Where we
Yeah,
write
the
okay,
planning,
first
exactly.
week, what we do and how to draw the grid for that.
sorry?
Regarding the planning, how to draw the grid for that and all. I think
You
she's
mean the
referring to
time
that.
plan, is it?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Time plan is something else. It can be done by
No, not only time plans, sir, but like the basic structure, the fundamental structure of a proposal. Because when we would go online and check, there are various kinds of proposal.
no, Miss, I just put it on the board as others have been asked, like, can you do a small favor? I just put it on the
I think
board,
she
like,
was
what is
asking,
the
sir.
structure?
Yes, Miss Setu,
Yeah.
Madhava has did put on the board. If you want, I have prepared a certain like a format. If you want, I can send.
Okay, that would be fine.
Okay. I'll send
Okay,
you
thanks.
that. I'll
Because
send
I told, like, in the introduction
Yes.
part what you have to write and all those things.
Yes,
Because this is the best time for you to study. Best time for you to like think individually what is the area that you need to do your research, not the research, actually your project. Because as an example, like at that day I told you, like you need to have 6 months at like time frame you need to put for your presentation, and the project need to be approved, right? Project need to be approved. So that's why, like, because according to my previous students, I know like how much they spent on the project work, right? So because of that, I just before this situation arose, I just in the lectures, it is not my job actually, but I just like I'm putting my hand in different pots now. So because of that, like that is my mistake. Like maybe I'm getting something bad about it, but no matter, I'm doing it
No,
for
sir.
my
Actually, it was helpful.
Yes.
no, I'm just doing it for my
Time.
students. That's all, right? So because of that, like what I need was like I'm always online these days, like I'm doing things, and also when the students are typing, that means like as an example background, like that means for computing students, any kind of students, when they are sending me like, sir, this is my project area. Like, what do you think? Like I am telling them, no. This is a good area, but just at this flavor, right? Maybe you can bake the cake, but I cannot bake the cake. But you can bake the cake, but I can tell you to make it more academic aspect. I can tell you what are the cherries you need to put, what are the icings you need to put, what is the color you need to put. You can understand what I mean, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir, now this proposal is something that we have to give it to you for you to approve whether we can go further in detail. That's how it goes now, sir. After that only we have to decide on
Something wrong with your internet.
Is it like that?
Sorry.
No, sir. Like the proposal is mainly what we have thought about it, and
Yeah.
we have to propose it and give it to you, and you will tell us whether you can go further or whether to change the topic or what has to be done. That's what you're saying, sir.
Yeah, actually, Miss, I am not going. As I told you, like I don't know who is looking at the dissertations as well. But what I am doing is, I'm a teacher, so my problem is I'm always just helping the people. So because of that, I'm telling like I'm not getting any decision, right? That is up to the management of this program. But what I'm doing is I can give you a help, like this is a good area, right? And as an example, Miss, you will came up with a like autism children, something kind of a case. But I can tell you, this is how your topic need to focus. And also I can give you some points like, okay, in this stage you will stuck. So because of that, we'll change the focus of the project into this level, right? Along with it, what you are doing is you can plan your project, right? That is my whole support, right? That means,
So, sorry for interrupting. You mean to say that you are not handling research for us, is it?
actually, I don't know because nobody had been told me.
Okay,
So,
because I got confused because last year when the proposal thing started, I think you were completely handling the
yeah, that means that last year.
last batch, yeah. Okay, no, but actually for me it's the present year because I am here since last year. You know my case, right? So I got
Then
confused.
you can go ahead with me, no problem, right?
Okay, thank you.
Right?
Okay.
That means like what I'm expecting is you.
No, sir, that's unfair. Even you should go through our proposal.
Yeah, that's what I said, miss. Right? That means that is the same thing.
So,
I did.
Nivashini, if that is unfair, then better you continue till next August like me. 2 years of BS, right?
Yes, that's fair
If this
enough.
is unfair, then do 2 years of
No,
BS like I did.
now that he has explained us the proposal, it's better if he marks ours, isn't it? Correct,
Yeah,
correct.
that means you can.
That's what he made it clear, Niva. He made it clear
I think we're
that he
putting
was
Sai in
doing an
trouble.
extra help thing.
Okay.
Yeah, he is doing it out of empathy for his students.
Okay.
Not
Anyway,
his job.
Thanks,
what you have to do is everybody needs to like just work on it, because these days you have less amount of assignment works, less amount of those kind of stuff. Like because of that, if you can work on it, like it is good, because I haven't asked any questions because I know this is a corona time. I don't know what is the background of the students. So because of that, if I tell have you done the proposals, then people will think that he's kind of a having
True,
a
true.
problem, right? So, but I'm thinking just get this as an opportunity, because you
Yes.
can finish off a big part of your project if you start it early. That's my idea. Just tell like even just
Format.
send me a mail just asking like this is the area I'm thinking to do, like what you are thinking, right? Then I can give you some points. According to that point, just start the discussion and move it over, right? Then I can tell you these are the areas that you are doing, like because after this session, don't think that I'm what is the benefit I'm getting. I'm not getting any benefit, right? Because I'm not getting any benefit, but
If we get good results, you are benefiting.
yeah, well, I'm not getting anything else, right? Anyway, I just want to have another discussion, so I'm coming back. So anyway, Miss, if you need any kind of guidance, the best word is that, like, if you need any guidance, like how to do it, just let me know, like via mail. Like I can give you some points. Because it is easier, like if you done things properly, quickly, in the this kind of a time period, right? Because
So
I think
by
like
when do you want the proposal, sir?
ASAP.
ASAP, okay.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm jumping to the next level. So I explained practically chaining, right? I explained practically what is chaining is all about, like how you are going to start, how you are going to. I'm dividing your project work. That means segment your project work into small parts. So just do it. And prompting, right? Techniques in behaviorism, prompting involves using some time of prompt to trigger a desired response, right? That means some kind of prompt. That means it is kind of a verbal cue, or telling a person what to do, or visual cues such as displaying picture designed to give to the response, right? Prompting. You can see the prompts in the doors of the washrooms, right? This is a ladies one. This is a gents one. This is for disabilities, right? Prompting. That means you are showing. Or sometimes, like some of the teachers are there, like when you are asking a question, sometimes students are answering, and teacher has a total responsibility to use a verbal cue or a visual cue to show them like you are giving the correct answer, right? If you are just being like not showing any cue, student doesn't know he's telling the right thing or the wrong thing. So prompt something, right? Behaviorism, prompt, right? Tell what to do, right? Oh, that means like if the student is doing something wrong, the teacher needs to tell, yes, it is wrong. It is wrong. That is your prompt. And shaping. Gradually altering the behavior, rewarding closer and closer approximation desired behavior. Shaping means stage by stage, change the behavior up to the perfect level, right? Change the behavior up to the perfect level, but it need to be done in the starting of this session also. I told like you cannot expect a perfect behavior on the first day. So just give some rewards, altering it gradually altering it. That's all. Techniques you can use to behave change. That means first thing is the changing, prompting, and shaping. Right? So you can see the stages of behavioral change, right? Because you can see that this is applicable to any kind of a person or animal as well, right? The first stage is what? Pre-contemplation. That is what? In this stage, human brain do not need to change the behavior. So because of that, those people are denial. They don't need to do what you are telling. They don't need to do what you are telling. I deny. Why I'm telling, why I'm doing what this person is telling. I don't need to do that person is telling. Denial. We don't need to do it. Right? Opposite ideas. And ignorance of the problem. Right? Ignore it. Like whatever the thing that is happening, no problem. Because see, that is your first stage. You don't like it. So you are denied, rejecting, right? Ignoring. In that stage, as a teacher, these are the, not the teacher, psychiatrists, these are the ways that we are using. Encourage the individual to rethink their behavior. We are explaining them when you are doing these things, what will happen to your mother and father. See how your others are looking at you, right? We are explaining them because of the behavior of them individuals. You are getting not any good praise, so you have to change the behavior or encourage self-analysis in introspection. That means introspection means like as an example, we are giving them self-analysis. We are telling them, look at you. You can be a good kid, right? I'm seeing a good thing from you, right? I'm sure you will be this kind of a person, but you need to study hard. And also you can explain the risk of the current behavior. As an example, most of the time doctors are doing it. Doctors are telling, okay, no matter if you are continuously you are getting drink, you will be like you have to do a bypass within another 2 years time. From my experience, I am telling. So that is what explaining the risk of the current behavior. If you want to change, just change. If not, there is a risk. That's it, right? So that's the thing. So because normally outside of the cigarette boxes, they are telling government advice. That means tobacco create cancer. Right? They're telling it, but still the people are using it. But they explain the risk. They're explaining through the pictures and everything, but still people are using it, right? So because they are denied. They don't want to change the behavior. They don't want to change the behavior. Right? They don't want to. Right? The second stage, contemplation, right? That means like conflict emotions. Now, what is the stage is now if you first stage you are ignoring everything, you don't want to agree with the person, but the second stage, this stage, your brain is now fighting. Your brain's good part and the bad part is fighting together and conflicted emotions. You are, that's why I said like your brain is rational. Now brain is doing what? Weight, pros and cons. Now they are thinking, if I do this one, these are the advantages I'm getting. Teacher will think that I'm a good kid and I'm getting toffees and I'm getting stars and I can go home and show to my parents that I'm doing well. But what are the cons? When I'm changing the behavior, people could think that I hurt the teacher. And then they could think that I'm not a person who can take my own decisions. Right? That is pros and cons. You're waiting, right? What are the where the big weight is there? That is the behavior you are expecting doing, and confirm readiness to change and encourage confidence in your abilities. Identify the barriers to change. That is true. In this stage, after having conflicted emotions, you are confirming readiness. You are thinking, yes, I can change. I can change, right? But I need a small push. Who will help me out? What is the confidence I'm getting? Like if I change, I will get rewards. Or my life is getting into a good level. So you are mentally you are ready, but you need some encourage, and you are thinking about your abilities. You are questioning about your abilities. Can I do it? Right? And then you are identifying what are the barriers that you need to change. What are the things that like hindering you from getting into the correct level, right? What are the problems that you are having, right? Barriers, okay? Problems, right? Because of this problem, I cannot learn. I cannot learn because I do not have a laptop. Barriers. It is a barrier, right? It is a barrier. I cannot have a lap. I don't have a laptop. How can I learn programming, computing, right? Okay, what are the barriers? And my institute is kind of far more. It is a barrier to me, right? Okay, that is the thing. Okay, good. Third stage, preparation. Experimenting with small changes, collecting information about the change. That means what you are going to do is you're writing down your goals. Like most of the time you are not writing down. You are getting all the things to your head, like this is how I need to achieve these things, like stage by stage, right? And prepare a plan of actions and make a list of motivating statements, like what you are doing in your teacher's degree, right? I'm always telling, right? Experimenting with small changes, right? Because you need to do the teacher's degree because you need to make sure like you are a graduate, right? So prepare action plan, like okay, these are the helpful strategies. Write down your own goals. I need to get a first class or second upper, or my GPA need to more than this amount, right? 3.25. So each subject I have to do in this way. Write down your goals and prepare an action plan and making a list of motivating statement. Actually, not the statement, actually, you can have some milestones, right? Milestones. For your project as well, this is same. You have to change the behavior, right? At the first stage of your project, this kind of denial, right? And ignorance of the problem, right? That was the stage you were in, right? This is why we need to do a project, right? Why you need to do a project? Right now, I do not need to do a project, right? I have lots of assignments to do. Right? And the second stage, you are thinking about your project in your final year project, like you are getting pros and cons. Okay, if I start early, I can complete it like in a good time. I don't have to struggle at the end. Right? Cons. What are the cons? Why I need to put my time on this rather than that? I can put that time into watching TV. Second, you can watch Devanini, right? Or Sihini or something. Like I saw in the TV, that kind of teledramas are going. Right? So you are losing the time to watch those movies, right? Cons, right? And also sometimes you are ready, by your brain, you are ready to do the project, but still you are not sure about your abilities. Can I write a project with between 12,000, 10,500, 12,000 words, right? And also sometimes you have to identify your barriers. I don't have a topic. I don't know where to start. It is your barrier, right? So now you need to change your behavior. But in the third one, experiment with a small change, right? That's what I told you. Send me an email about your topic. That's enough. It is a small change. I'm not expecting from you to send me the whole proposal within one day. No, I didn't expect. I need your topic. I need your topic. When you are sending me the topic, I'll tell you what is the action plan, right? This is the way you can do it. So then write down your own goals. This day I'm going to complete my introduction paragraph. This day I'm going to complete my background. This day I'm going to write my aims and objectives. And this day I'm going to write the ethical issues. This day I'm going to prepare the time plan. And this day I'm going to send it for review, right? The action plan. And a list of motivating statements means you can put like, before this day I'm submitting, before 20th of April I'm submitting the proposal. Then I'm far more ahead than the others, and I'm so sure I can complete. Your motivation statement means you can complete your degree by August. Right? So that is your helpful strategies. Experimenting with small change, right? Not a big change. After this session, don't give yourself 2-3 hours on the computer and don't try to write your whole proposal. Rather than that, find out a topic area and just share with me. It is a very small change. It is a very small change, right? Okay. Hope you understood how the behavioral change can be done.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Is
sir.
it?
Understood.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you
the
for
thing.
motivating.
Thank you so much, sir.
Actually, rather than kids, I can get your life and explain it. That's all, right? So that is the same for the kids. Like as I explained you, like let them to try to change the wheel a bit and then push. They will just reinvent the wheel. I know that, right? So because most of the time, like. That means our brain is always finding the comfortable zones. Our brain is always looking at, thank you, comfortable zones. Comfortable zones means after sometimes you are feeling like, okay, every Sunday morning class, that's enough. So that is your comfortable zone, right? So after that, if you are getting classes on Saturday and Sunday, your brain is getting what? Denial. Why Saturday and Sunday? It is only Sunday, right? Because I cannot change my behavior, right? That is how your brain is working. My brain is working, right? So that's the thing, right? So because of that, on the first days, I thought of like how I'm going to teach as a that means a kind of a mental person, like inside my home. At my room, I'm just lecturing. I'm thinking how I'm going to do it. I'm not seeing any kid, or I'm not seeing any children, or I'm not seeing any professional. So how I'm going to maintain my tone. So now after now 3 weeks, 4 weeks time, now I'm feeling like this is comfortable than coming to idea. Right? So that's
Agree,
it.
sir.
Right? Okay. Okay, now the fourth stage, the last stage is reaction, right? Now you've done a small experiment, or you let your kid to do a small experiment, and when the kid is done an experiment, make sure you are giving a proper response. If you are telling when even they are doing with the whole curiosity, after whole pros and cons, and after all the ideas, if your kid, that means like kid had been gone through these all things, right? Pros and cons, readiness, and he has the curiosity or unsure about the abilities, and he identified the barriers. After all those things, that kid had been done a small change. After that kid is been done the small change, with the small change, make sure like now the person is ready to change. At that point, as a teacher, our responsibility is don't let them down, right? Don't let them down. If they take an action, that means if they done a small experiment and small change, you have to praise them. Okay, you done, see, you can do it. See, now you have goals and objectives, so that means you can do it, right? Motivate them, right? When you are motivating them, they will repeat the action. That means taking direct action to and achieve the goals. That means now you have goals. You have goals. Now what they are trying to do is they're taking action to achieve the goals, right? Now they do have all the weapons. Now they are going to launch them. That's all. And reward your success. Seek out social support and make list of that is not that much of this is a totally a psychological move, right? This part. This is a totally a psychological move, so it is not much. But reward your success stage by stage. You need to get okay, introduction finished, this one finished, that one finished, right? And also seek out social support means you can get the responses from others, right? I completed up to that level. See, like social support, right? And also others need to help on that, right? That means like if you are doing it like others need to support on that, like whatever the things that you are doing, right? For kids as well, you are the social support, right? As a teacher, you are the social support. So you need to reward them. You need to give the social support like you are doing great. You are doing great. You are in a good shape, right? Okay, good. And this is the most important thing, right? Now you know it. Now you know. Now your wheels are rolling, right? Wheels are rolling, right? So because of that, maintaining the new behavior and avoiding temptation. Avoiding temptation means you are now in a comfortable zone. So you are not thinking about other things, right? You are not thinking about other things. Sometimes you are at home, your husband is coming and telling, see, in Devananima these days that two people are fighting today. So see the TV. But you are telling, no. I don't have temptation on Devananima. I'm doing my project. So that means you're maintaining your new behavior, avoiding temptation. That means your mind is not going anywhere, right? That is the part that you have to do, right? And that means like for the kids as well, some of the kids are there, like when they are just doing their work properly, and when you are praising them, sometimes even the food is there next to them, they are not eating. They are doing their work until they finish the work, right? That is the thing, because your mind is not going for other temptations until a person is pushing them to change it. Understood? That's the maintenance stage. So to deal with so that's why I told you, developing strategies to deal with temptation. That means you have to develop strategies not to make your mind to go to other objectives, right? when the people are playing outside, most of the students are having those problems. They are telling how I'm concentrating on the computer while my friends are playing cricket in outside. So I'm going to play cricket. So because of that, I delayed the project. So that is the reason. So because of that, you need to have some strategies to deal with other temptations. Temptations means you are having a burning desire to do something else, right? Do something else. And most of the time, like, like for the sugar, that in diabetes uh, patients, doctors are doing this kind of things, and that means avoiding temptation means diabetic people, they cannot eat sugar that much. But to avoid temptation, they are giving them some other strategies to deal with the temptation. Even the cake is there, they are telling, no, I don't eat, right? Because they are explaining the risk. They are telling, you can eat a cake right now, but you will suffer for another 3 months' time. Sometimes you have to inject insulin. So if you like, you can eat the whole cake. If not, if you want the taste, just eat a small piece. After that, just deal with it, because the same taste is there for whole cake, right? So that's how you need to have strategies to deal with your temptation, right? And also, very important thing, it's very important thing, is remember to reward yourself for success, right? Always praise yourself, right? Don't put yourself down while you are making your behavior. Just think like, what to do, I have to do these things. No, no, no. Because of your ability, you are doing it, right? So because of that, remember to reward yourself, because rather than getting out it from outside, telling to yourself and motivating yourself is the biggest weapon you can have, right? Okay, those are the behavioral changes, 5 stages. And relapses, most of the time, this is not that much of important. This is what that means. Sometimes while you are continuing your behavior, you will have disappointment, failures, frustrations, right? So maybe you could think, you would have an idea like you got ill, right, while you are doing something, right? Or sometimes some of the kids are there when they are doing a good work. Sometimes hold the that means from the building blocks, or some small wooden pieces, he's building a castle, right? What happens is automatically, because of one wrong move, the whole castle can be collapsed. Then it is a total disappointment, failure, frustration, because he spent a big time on creating up to that level. So then you have to make sure what identify the trigger, what had been gone wrong to collapse it, right? So you have to explain them, because for the kids, they cannot understand themselves. Sometimes teacher needs to be the best friend, right? Because most of the time after this kind of a disappointment, kid is not going to reconstruct the castle or that structure again. So teacher has to sit with them and help them to construct the castle up to some level, and then tell, see, I also help you out, but now make sure, like, don't put a wrong move, do the right move, right? So likewise, right? So that is applicable to kids as well as to yourself as well, right? When you are studying, most of the time you could have disappointment, failures, frustrations, like you are not getting the marks as you expected. But it doesn't mean that you don't, you have to stop your education. Rather than that, what you have to do is you have to check whether why I got the lower marks, what are the things I missed. So next time you have to correct those things. That's all, right? So that's why we are telling, recognize the barriers to success and take steps to overcome those obstacles. And reaffirm, that means, as an example, if you think like, okay, I plan to complete my degree by August, but because of this corona, now I cannot complete the degree by August. I will get my degree in next December. No need to do that, right? Now we are having another course set, like you are having online classes, so do it, right? and complete your degree, because there's nothing to worry about corona or anything. Only the thing is like you are not having face-to-face classes but online classes, but the time would come like we have to change it into face-to-face classes, because this is not going so long, right? This is not a big epidemic like to Sri Lanka, right? I don't think, right? And so that's the thing, right? Relapses. So criticism is very important thing, because this is important for not to your knowledge. Most of the time, this is important to your examinations. One-dimensional approach. That is one criticism. That means one-dimensional means we are not accounting. We are not accounting these three things, right? We are thinking anybody can be changed. We don't need to think about their moods, their current mood, thoughts or feelings. And also, it is not thinking about the other types of learning like emotional learning, cognitive learning, and those kind of things. They are only talking about what? Reinforcements and punishments, but not thinking about the cognitive development, social aspects. No, nothing. Right? And also behavior, adapt their behavior when new information is introduced, even previous behavior pattern has been established to the reinforcement. That's why we are telling, most of the time we are telling, like when we are using the first time the computer, we are telling the computer is a TV. It is like a TV, but only the change is like there is a small thing called mouse and a keyboard. We can type on the TV, because your previous behavior or previous experience is about TV. So you are relating to the previous experience and getting the new information called computer, right? That is how it goes, right? And that's why most of the people, these days we are telling the new information is corona. But most of the doctors have been told at the start is corona is a kind of a phlegm. And after that it is going to the sore throat, and after that it is going to your lungs, and it is drastically changing to pneumonia, right? That was the initial idea. Because why? Because doctors also knows about pneumonia, but they doesn't know about corona, right? So they relate corona into what? A phlegm. That's it, right? How we are going to adapt the behavior, right? So because of that, if it is a totally a new picture, it is a very dangerous scenario, because you don't have anything to relate. That is a criticism, right? It is a criticism. And also, generalized results in the way that can be misleading, since human have complex thought processes after effects. That's true, because most of the time, all the behaviors are not generalized. Some of the behaviors we can generalize, right? Some of the behaviors you cannot, right? Some of the behaviors such as making something different, right? Thinking differently about creating some machines or something, right? Sometimes you cannot use the generalized subject, that is behaviors, whatever the previous behaviors, right? And also, the other thing is behaviorist always not thinking about or ignoring biological factors. Biological factors mean genes, thinking patterns, brain development, ability of rethinking, intuitive ability, all those things. Behaviorists are thinking, no need of those things. If we punish them, they will do the good. When they are doing the good, we have to give them stars, that's all. We don't think about, like, they are thinking every human brain is same. That's the thing. So that is a criticism, right? And also, they are not thinking about the situational influences, right? And cognitive theorists, right? That means personality traits. That is the most important thing. This is very important word, personality traits, right? Because if you, what is the background you came from? They are not considering about it, right? What is the background you came from? They are not considering about it. So because of that, what happens is, teacher is thinking every kid is with the same background, but it is different. Some of the kids are having different personalities. Some are emotional, highly emotional, some are not, right? And also their social cognitive level is different, right? Social cognitive level is different. Some of the kids are highly social, some of the kids are not. They want to be alone and they love to learn independently. Some of them love to work as groups. So behaviorism neglected those parts. So these are the criticisms. That means why the only the behaviorism is not good for teaching, right? But this is a very important aspect. But it is not good only if you are using this theory, right? Okay. I think we discuss about very in depth about the what you call this behaviorism, but finally we come up with the criticism. These are the reasons why only this is not enough, but you can mix up as a teacher. You can mix up behaviorism at the places where you want or applicable. That's up to you. Okay. Hope you understood.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So,
Thank you.
So thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
okay. Right. So I don't know what is the next day. Right.
Thank you,
Uh,
Madhav, sir.
Thank you,
The
sir.
next day is
one
on.
minute. Yeah, 1 minute, students. I will inform tomorrow. The final project class is there. So Mr. Madhu will be taking. As Mr. Madhav said, you can always talk to him and get idea because he have finished his doctorate also. So he have a very good experience rather than all of the lectures in ITM. So better you talk to him and get idea. So first you have to submit the proposal. I will give you a date. Once the proposal is submitted, it will be distributed to different lecturers, and based on the lecturer, because all the proposal Mr. Madhav cannot assess, so we will be dividing into different lecturers, so they will be assessing you for the final project. So Mr. Madhav also taking some other lectures also. So tomorrow we will discuss about the total plan in final project. So then if you have any doubts and issues, you always can talk to Mr. Madhav and get finalized about the document, because he have handled previous students as well with the same university. So you have a lot of experience. So that is one. And next class for you is tomorrow. Then New Year, we don't have classes on Monday and Tuesday. Then Wednesday onward, we have other class. I will re-upload your timetable from week until next Sunday. Okay, so any
Okay.
questions?
Okay, sir.
So
Will
Tuesday
the
also we don't
questions-
have, is it?
Sorry?
Tuesday also we don't have, is it?
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, you don't have classes.
And sir, questions related to proposal can be discussed tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we'll discuss all the proposal and final project matter tomorrow class. So Mr. Madhu also there, so they will discuss deadlines, timing, when you have to submit and everything.
Okay. And the social and emotional deadline is not yet given, sir.
Yeah, because I'm refinalizing the deadline. So I need some more time, because with the final project and this module, human learning, all the assignment deadline, I will update you once everything is finalized with the lectures.
All right.
Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
in the timetable you sent, you have mentioned Tuesday 10 to 12.
It's on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sir,
Tomorrow
Monday,
project
Monday,
classes and Tuesday human learning again.
Okay. Then the Tuesday class is okay. Right. So Sunday and Monday is holiday. Tuesday again you have the class.
Yeah, same time,
Yes.
10 to 12.
Mr. Madhav, Tuesday.
Mr. Myron, don't put Tuesday. Tuesday is 14th.
Oh, okay.
14th, because only the
Yeah,
thing is like our curfew is going to lift on that day. And also, so because of that, most of the time I have to.
So 15th, okay, Mr. Madhav, Wednesday.
15th is fine for me. 15th is
Okay.
fine for me.
Then I will rearrange the time schedule. Okay.
So better
Okay.
if we can get some past papers the final exams. Since we are at home, like we can just go through and get an idea.
Okay. Because actually we don't give any past papers.
At least sample questions, sir.
That's why like in-class exam will relate to the same related questions only will come. So that's why you do in-class exam.
So
That
what are you
was,
going to do about the final exam, sir?
so once is this corona matters finished, then we will do the modules completed. The final exam we will have it in a day.
Revision questions will be given, no, sir, for the final
Yes, sir.
exams?
I
So
don't think.
Madhava said that
Sir, can you
he'll get
send us?
some sample papers.
Mr. Madhav, is it possible?
Please, sir.
Huh?
No, we don't give the sample papers, no, for the final exam.
Sample papers, I have to check.
Yeah. So
So,
that's
but
we.
instead of sample papers, we can do revision on that particular
Yeah.
subject before the final exams. Now, that will be more easier for us.
Yeah, that's also fine.
That's various.
Revision me now. The practical problem is now most of the lectures they have completed and went, so we can't call them again and do the session. So that is a difficult part because Miss Sandra and all they have now left now. So for the revision we have to take them again to the office. Then there are payment issues and that is a problem. So now you have all the notes now. So if you have any personal question to be asked and anything, you just talk to the lecturer by yourself. Because I can't promise that I can arrange a revision session again for all the modules because different lecture, most of the people are not here and they are busy. So again, calling down for all the 12 modules is difficult. No?
No, sir, because basically the papers are not made by the lecturers, no, it is made
Yeah.
by the university.
Yeah.
So the final output is like totally different from what we have learned.
No,
So
not,
if it is
not
the
the same.
lecturers giving us some,
No, not that.
Yeah.
Like in-class exam will be in-class exam, final exam will come on the syllabus area only. Only the syllabus area. So anyway, don't worry, we will have the first two exams initially, final exam.
Okay.
Then you see the exam. Then if you feel difficulties, we will think and do something. Because we also want you all to pass the exam, not to fail.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
first two exam we will try. Then if you have any difficulties which is not matched with the syllabus or questions are different, difficult, like some
No,
issues
sir.
are coming.
Last year when it was final exams time, Dr. Madhava used to give us some sample questions of how it will come and all that. That was very useful, and it was easy for us to learn from for the final exam. So that way it will be easy for us.
So that's it. Now the class is going itself. You ask from the lecturer and just keep. That is easy. Anyway, but revision class I can't promise. But anyway, I will think with the management. I'll talk to them and see what we can do from our side. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Myron, like tomorrow, there's nothing to do with me now?
No.
No, okay. Okay.
Because initial documentation part will be Madhu will be taking.
Yeah, no problem. I just want to make my calendar. That's all. Right?
All right. Okay.
Okay.
So I will update you about your timetables.
Okay, no problem.
Sir, Myron, sir, another problem is how to do the payments for IDM, like that.
You can deposit to the bank account which we are already given, and you keep the slip with the normal process.
Okay, normal process. I'll just send you a picture of the
Deposit slip.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. Thank you, miss. Thank you,
So
everybody.
can we delay the payment? I mean,
Yeah, that's why we are not strictly asking. We know about the situation.
yeah.
So if you can pay, just pay and keep. Otherwise, when this thing is curfew is lifted, then your due will show high. No, so just pay the amount which you can. We are not forcing and we are not charging anyway. Like this amount you have to pay. Like.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Madhav.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Anyone there?
I'm
Yes.
leaving.
Yeah, Safina. Yes, Sabrina.
Yes, tomorrow it's not Dr. Madhu's session, right?
No,
somebody called Madhu.
Apparently
Mr.
it
Madhu.
seems someone else.
Oh, someone else. Then
Yeah.
we were supposed to ask questions, doubts regarding the proposal to Mr. Madhu.
Yes.
We'll talk about
He's-
tomorrow, right? Give proposal to Madhu.
No, when he discusses, then we'll know what exactly we have to ask from him. Also, we can ask, and then later we can ask from Mr. Madhav also. Yeah.
Is it clear, Safina?
Okay, I'm leaving.
Okay, I'm going.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, okay.